Hello and welcome to Deep in the Forest. My name is Roger, and today we're going to continue with our series, which is based on all of the miracles that Jesus did during his ministry. Today we're going to be going through his second miracle, which is also very important for us as believers. Every single miracle that he did can be talked about extensively, but we're going to be just focusing on a few things today. So if you have your Bibles, open them up. We're going to be reading from John chapter 4. Therefore, he came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made the water wine. And there was a royal official whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he had heard that Jesus had come out of Judea into Galilee, he went to him and was imploring him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. So Jesus said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you simply will not believe." So as we see here, we have kind of a bit of a problem. There is an official who is in the area, and apparently he walked quite a bit. It's about 20-mile difference from where Jesus was. And so he goes to Jesus. He kind of has this little bit of faith in who Jesus was. Obviously, if you haven't seen our first video, Jesus just turned water into wine, and people all around heard about what he had done. And as a result, people had just a little bit of faith in what Jesus had done. But that's exactly the problem. See, Jesus is not just a miracle worker. He's not just somebody who entertains or has little tidbits for people to kind of see and enjoy. He is, in fact, the Messiah. He's the promised one that everybody has been waiting for. So it's not about what Jesus does, it's about who he is. So in the case of the royal official here, he has faith in what Jesus can do, but not who he is. And this could probably be explained because of who the royal official is. He is probably a person who served under Herod the Tetrarch, and usually the tetrarchs had a lot of power, a lot of resources, lots of things that they could do. And therefore, if they wanted something done, they would rely on their money, their abilities, and even just the resources that they have, the people that they have at hands. So, to an official, going to Jesus was like going to the tetrarch and asking him, "Can you heal my son? Can you do something about it?" But it's really just about the motions and about the things that Jesus can physically do. Jesus kind of rebukes him pretty harshly. Almost never does Jesus actually rebuke anybody. And at that, it's not the worst of all rebukes, but he reminds him, unless you people see, then you won't believe, right? In essence, that's what the verse is telling us here, is that sometimes our faith is based more on our vision. It's very it's very hard to have faith if you know the results based on what you've already factually seen. This is a reminder to us as Christians. This is a reminder to us as people that even though we don't see Jesus, that we have to have faith in who he is. That we don't have to have faith in what he can do as much as why he does it. And the reason why he does it is because he's compassionate. Let's look at the rest of the verses and see why I have this claim of his compassion. In verse 49, it says, "The royal official said to him, 'Sir, come down before my child dies.' Jesus said to him, 'Go, your son lives.' The man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him and started off. As he was now going down, his slaves met him, saying that his son was living. So he inquired of them the hour when he began to get better. Then they said to him, 'Yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him.'" Well, let's talk about that. Jesus does a miracle, and usually we see that Jesus is very involved with the people around him. He actually did one of the more sight-driven miracles just before, where he turned water, which is see-through, into wine, which is a dark burgundy red, and everybody would be able to kind of see that. There's a huge difference here. This miracle, which is his second one, is virtually invisible. And the people who were with the child at the time where they saw him probably just be raised up from that fever, be raised up from that sickness, did not have a clue why. And on the other hand, the father who is with Jesus did not have a clue what is happening to the son. So there's this like uh gap in time that we could see where there is a little bit of faith from the father and yet no action. What does that say about Jesus? That Jesus can do all things no matter how little our faith, no matter how far, and no matter what the situation entails. I think that maybe our faith lacks at times. And this is a great reminder that just because we don't see it doesn't mean we shouldn't believe it. And it also reassures us that Jesus, even with this little faith that this man had, did a great miracle. I don't know if you in your personal life have felt like you don't have enough faith. I don't know if you feel like, man, I wish I could have that faith like some other people, like the people that I read of in the Bible or that I see on YouTube or that I see in different churches. I wish I could have that faith so I can have that action. Listen, Jesus can take even your small amount of faith, and in spite of your lack of faith, he will do his will because he is merciful, but also because he wants to receive the glory. Everything that Jesus did, and throughout all these miracles, we're going to see that Jesus wants people to believe in him. He truly searches for those who are lost, and he truly wants those who don't believe to believe. John writes this miracle so that we could believe in Jesus. He writes this one along with seven other miracles so that we can believe who Jesus is. And all of his miracles that John is writing about illustrate and demonstrate the character of Jesus, and not just his grandeur, but his heart and the way he truly loves his people. This is a miracle that demonstrates that Jesus, in spite of us coming to him only for our own personal gain, can use that emotion, that heart to proclaim the good news and the kingdom of Christ. So, yes, maybe this royal official was not the best person to come to Jesus and be a great example of what it is to have faith. We saw a great example in Mary last time, but this person has very little faith, and he kind of just heard about Jesus and he heard about the faith that, that the miracles that he had done. That was enough for Jesus to do a great miracle here. And let's look at verse 53. It says, "So the father knew that it was at that hour in which Jesus said to him, 'Your son lives,' that he himself believed and his whole household." This again, the second sign that Jesus performed when he had come out of Judea into Galilee. So, what a great start to Jesus' ministry. He turns water into wine, he heals people from far away. It doesn't even have to be in the same room as them. That's amazing. And we should be reassured that Jesus can also come into our lives. Look at the reaction from the Father. It says that he knew. Now, it's no longer so much about a blind faith, but it is about consciously knowing. I've been a pastor for several years now, and I come across this question many times. Do we have blind faith as Christians? And the answer is no. We don't have blind faith. We have faith in things that have been proven time and time again. We don't have a faith that is in an invisible God, but it's in a visible God when you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. This person maybe didn't have a lot of faith in Jesus at first, but I guarantee you he does now. What are you going to do? Now that you've heard the second miracle of Jesus, Will you put your faith in Jesus and will you trust in him just like this official did? Or will you continue to search and want more miracles and more signs in order for you to put your trust in Jesus? If you still need more miracles, that's okay, because we're going to be posting more videos about all of the miracles that Jesus did. But what I obviously suggest is to put your faith in him today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed.